Thursday night football action, the return of the Parlay to Paradise, and round 2 of blind bets all on this edition of Bet. He's Tyler Fulghum. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. Welcome to the show. Little Ryder Cup action this weekend as well.
I am jazzed for that.
Michael Collins, the caddy, is going to join us in just a little bit. Word on the street is he's wearing a suit. That would be an upset. To end all upsets, we'll see if we can pick some more on the course of the show. YouTube.com/ESPN Sports Betting is the place to go for a lot of new shorts we've been rolling out. Picks, all types of stuff, less than a minute. We value your time. Check it out. Let us know what you think. We begin with Surviving the Eliminator, a little segment we like to, talk about on Thursdays because elimination and survivor pools are so popular. Bit of a problem, though. After 2 weeks, we're both out. I like you so much that after you got knocked out in week 1, I joined you in the unemployment line. Yeah, booze, huh? I don't think I've ever heard cheers on this show.
It's hard out here. Again, I got a little too cocky picking on the Houston Texans in week 1. But I do think a sound strategy, if you are still playing, if you still survived and haven't been eliminated, pick on the Texans, pick on the Jaguars, pick on the Lions. These are the worst teams in the NFL, and the 3 teams combined may win 4 or 5 games combined this season.
First of all, nobody cares about your strategies when you get eliminated in week 1. Nobody cares at all about that. Number 2, thank you, Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers. What is Ben Roethlisberger getting paid to play football like that? He can't move. I've seen glaciers come down from the Arctic faster than Roethlisberger got himself out of the pocket on Sunday. So naturally, Pittsburgh's probably a pretty good bet this weekend, but they couldn't get it done against the Raiders. So here we are, we're done. If you were in play, what would you do? Denver this weekend? They look favorable.
No, I'd take tonight's team. I'd take the Panthers.
Woo!
I'm the Texans.
Woo! Well, how about that? Speaking of which, why don't we make some bets on that game? Thursday night football, the aforementioned Carolina Panthers are in Houston to take on the Texans. Carolina's laying 8, total of 43. We'll get the props in a moment, but between the side and the total, what's your favorite play?
Yeah, picking a side was my best bet today on Daily Wager, and I like that Panther side. Don't love laying this amount in an NFL game with the team on the road, but I just look at the matchup, and I don't see paths to keeping it close for Houston. If they had Tyrod Taylor under center, okay. Yes. Taylor is the biggest reason why they were 2-0 against the spread, laying those massive numbers in the week 1 and week 2. Well, not massive in week 1, but they won straight up as a dog. But Davis Mills only started 11 games in his collegiate career. Now he's making his first start, and it's on a primetime game against a defense that has looked very, very good through 2 weeks this season. I don't think it's a mirage either. You can say, oh, well, it's against Zach Wilson and the Jets. Oh, it's against Jameis Winston and the Saints. Well, we loved Jameis after week 1.
We did.
And isn't a Davis Mills-led Texas team about on par with a Zach Wilson-led Jets team and a Jameis-led Saints team?
It is.
So I love CMC in that offense, coordinated by Joe Brady. Darnold's got weapons to throw to. The Texans' defense not very good, especially against the run, and that's bad news against Christian McCaffrey. I'll lay the 8.
All right, you've got the side covered. I've got the total covered. I'm going to play under 43 in this game. I know you're very excited to bet an under on Thursday night football, especially since overs are 6-0 in primetime games so far this NFL season. We're going to buck that trend here. Carolina made a big investment in its defense this offseason, and it's paying off through 2 weeks. Number 1 in the NFL in scoring defense, number 1 in the NFL in opponent yards per play, number 1 in the NFL in third down conversions. They know how to get off the field. I believe they're only allowing 25% conversions on third down. Tyler mentioned the Houston run defense, or lack thereof, currently 22nd in the NFL,
Don't shortchange him now.
Opponent yards per carry, which means if you can get Christian McCaffrey going early and often in the running game, it's going to get going in the passing game as well. It's going to be very difficult to get this team off the field, grind down the clock, get ready for next week. You see where I'm going here? Under 43 points is the play. Props. You got the entire menu at your disposal. Lock in on one for us.
How about Christian McCaffrey? You mentioned
I've heard of him.
Advantage that the Carolina Panthers run game will have against that inefficient Houston Texans run defense. I don't know how he's going to get there, but I do think he goes over 140.5 combined rushing and receiving yards. Probably do most of his damage on the ground because he's in a positive game script. But in case he catches, 7, 8, 9, 10 passes for 100 yards, I want to encompass everything because I know he's going to have a great game. So over 140.5 for a guy who's averaging 29.5 touches in the 2 games he's played this season, and 162 yards of offense combined receiving and rushing in the 2 games he's played, I think against better defenses, especially the Saints. So if he gets anything close to 30 touches against this Texans team, I'd be shocked if they hold him under 140.5 yards of rushing and receiving offense.
A lot of fantasy owners out there hoping you're right, because there's nothing worse than your number 1 pick going on a Thursday and laying an egg, setting you up for what could be a tough weekend, but I agree with the analysis. I will play Texans quarterback Davis Mills over 30.5 passing attempts in this game. 24 of the league's 32 teams are averaging 31 or more passing attempts this season. It's not that hard to do. It's not that infrequent. 75% are getting it done, and Mills is in a situation in this game where he's an 8-point underdog. The translation there, the implication there, is that he could be trailing in this game. He could be trailing big, which means he's throwing late in the game, teams moving quickly down the field to try to save time, getting more snaps off against the prevent defense that could allow you to eat up the underneath. You could get 5, 6, 7 passing attempts in one drive at the end of the game. Davis Mills over 30.5 passing attempts, which leads us to blind bet. Second week that we are rolling out this segment. Here is how it works. It's a little crossover of the Price is Right Showcase Showdown and Let's Make a Deal. My man over here has 2 envelopes, aptly named Envelope 1 and Envelope 2. I will choose between those 2 envelopes. In each envelope is a prop bet. If I take an envelope and I like that prop bet that's on tonight's game, I can stick with it, or I can stick it to Tyler and give it to him, and I can take the other envelope. Here's how it worked last week in the debut when Tyler had the first choice.
That's why I was giving you the golf clap, my friend, because I thought I had an absolute banger. I thought I made the right choice. What was behind door number 2? I loved it.
You had that option that I ended up winning with. I literally did nothing.
You
opened that envelope. You said you did not want that. You passed it to me. You took over 9.5 punts. I think they had 5 punts
in the first quarter. I was like, I was already spent it.
It was a smash. An absolute smash.
Have to send them back now. God, gaskets.
Based on the way you and I have handled Eliminator, if it's anything like this, you won't have to send the sneaks back. I'm going to go ahead and make you some money here on my own. Give me the deuce. My oldest son was...
That's one.
It's not that hard.
I mean,
it shouldn't have been that hard. Oldest son was born on February 2nd. I'm from Pennsylvania. February 2nd is Groundhog Day. The deuce is my favorite roulette number. So, the prop I have been given, over 21.5 total points scored in the second half. Well, if you listen to my analysis that I like the under in this game, I would have to be a damn fool to want to make this wager. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. I am going to pass on over 21.5 total points in the second half. This now becomes yours. How do you feel about this?
I kind of like it because I think Carolina's going to be able to score all 4 quarters, and I think Houston is more likely to score in the second half in significant chase mode. Davis Mills over pass attempts, many of those coming in the second half against a prevent soft defense. So I think Carolina pitches a shutout in the first, then in the second, maybe Houston gets into the end zone a time or 2.
I have now mushed my oldest son's birthday, so let's see where we go from here. I will now be playing the Carolina Panthers win the first half by 7 to 12 points.
I like that one too.
They're at 8. It is plus 290. It is plus 290.
Payout.
But to be honest, I told you it was going to be a low-scoring game. And with the spread at -8, why would I bet the team to win by 7 to 12 in the first half on the road on Thursday Night Football? Don't like either of the options. But this is what I will be.
I believe the first half spread is 4.5. So they'd have to really go over the number that they are laying in the first half. But I think I like that, especially with the payout of plus 2.5.
So both my options were to root for scoring in a game where my favorite bet is the under. All right. Well, that is Blind Bet, ladies and gentlemen, and this next segment might as well be called Blind Bet as well because we've never won it. It's the Parlay to Paradise. Last year it was a 9-team parlay that we played every single week and never won, so we scaled it down to a 5-team parlay. Tyler makes 2 picks. They can be pro or college. I make 2 picks. They can be pro or college, and then we bring in a special guest to make their celebrity pick to join us as well. Last week, not awful. And that really is the bar that we've set around here these days. Not awful. How do you feel?
Denver, love that. That was my best bet on Sunday's Daily Wager. Can't believe Ohio State, the way they looked in that first quarter against Tulsa. It was like a 6-3 game.
I like the analysis. Yeah, you're in a big bounce back spot there. You got to look good. They look terrible.
If I would have gone with my other college pick, Iowa under, which is an absolute banger, I would have been at least 2-0. Yeah, Pittsburgh, Las Vegas, you had a lot of investment.
Pittsburgh got me everywhere. And I want to spite them by betting against them this week.
Good job, Anita.
That's what I should not be doing. Anita steps in. She handles the business as expected. Very nicely done. So we will not be cashing in on that. So it's time to focus on this week's picks. Your two. Floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, I'm staying on Saturday for both picks because I don't love the Sunday NFL card. I don't love it. I don't like it.
It's a tough week.
You know this. Daddy loves betting against the Kansas Jayhawk football program.
Here we go.
Love, love, love. Now, this would be a great matchup on the hardwood, perhaps, but no, we're playing on the gridiron here. So I will lay 16 with the Duke Blue Devils at home against the Kansas Jayhawks, who are 1-2 this season, but they barely beat a South Dakota FCS team. They didn't cover that. They didn't cover against Coastal Carolina, and they didn't cover against Baylor. They are 0-3 ATS. They're one of the worst FBS programs in football, one of the worst of the last couple of decades. So I will ride a Duke team that has a really good offense, top 15 in total yards, rush yards per game. David Cutcliffe can obviously coach him up on that side of the ball. Kansas's defense is awful, so I love the mismatch of a good offense on Duke, a bad defense on Kansas, just a bad program there at Kansas. I'll lay the 16 with the Duke Blue Devils, especially at home. And then, again, I should have used this last week, but it's been a printing press. Iowa is 11-2, Joe, to the under at Kinnick Stadium since 2019, including 3-0 to the under in every single game they've played this season. They are an under machine because they have a great defense, a dominant offensive line that allows them to milk the clock and run the football and keep away from the opposition. So 44.5, it's a low number, but it's Big Ten football, baby, so I will go under that.
Because we are aligned on this parlay together, I will root for those picks. But I will also be very clear, I don't really want to watch those games. I don't want to watch either one of those.
I didn't say I was going to watch them.
This isn't a great week for college football matches, to be completely honest with you. I will start in college with a game that many of you probably don't want to watch either. But it's Army laying 8 against Miami of Ohio. This game is going to come down to what happens in the trenches, where Army has a sizable advantage. Did you know the Army Black Knights are the third-ranked rushing attack in all of college football, averaging 331 rushing yards per game?
I did not know.
Also, did you know the Miami Redhawks rank 109th in opponent yards per rushing attack?
I did not know.
Not good. If you're a Miami, Ohio alum, better associated with the organization in some loose affiliation sort of way, not good. Army has been fantastic this season. They're 3-0. They're averaging 44 points per game, and the offense is holding the ball 41 minutes a game, which keeps the defense fresh. Very tough. It's a game plan for the triple option. It's going to be Army -8, play number 1. Play number 2, we will go to the National Football League. Under 46 points, Bears, Browns. Justin Fields making his debut. Great spot for him, Nagy. Great spot on the road at Cleveland against that pass rush. Fantastic. He's playing behind a terrible offensive line on an offense that ranks 31st in yards per play. So he's got nothing at his disposal to help him. Meanwhile, here comes Cleveland. A, they want to run the football. B, they're missing Jarvis Landry, one of their top wide receivers. I don't see it being a very explosive Cleveland passing attack. Lean on Nick Chubb, lean on Kareem Hunt. Do what you need to do, grind the clock. Under 46 feels solid here. You kind of want to play the Browns, but without Jarvis Landry, the Browns have been a little iffy this year.
Odell Beckham will be back, though, making his return from the ACL injury. So
and as we know, that somehow hurts Baker Mayfield's numbers, believe it or not. All right, so that's 2 from my man, 2 from me. Field Yates, ESPN NFL insider, reporter, host. He does it all. He's got the guest pick this week. Field, what do you got for us?
Now, I know it's a big number. The Ravens favored by 8 points over the Lions in Week 3. But you can't tell me that this Ravens team, coming off of a confidence-boosting win on Sunday night against the Chiefs, is going to fall flat against the Lions, who are so undermanned right now, personnel-wise, especially on defense. Lamar Jackson looking like a potential MVP once again in Week 2. I expect that to be the game that we look back upon as a turning point for the Ravens season. I love them in a major way in Week 3.
A lot of blue in that background. A lot of blue. So how do you feel? Take a look at it. $2,148.58. You can keep the chains. I'll keep the bills. We'll go from there.
Doesn't seem fair, but I love it. Love the board we put together there with our buddy Field Yates.
How many of those games do you want to watch? That is
I'm going to watch Cleveland-Chicago. I'm going to watch Cleveland-Chicago just for the Justin Fields.
Yeah, that is going to be very, very interesting. All right, Ryder Cup. Normally get it every 2 years. 3 years this time around because of COVID. Whistling Straits, Kohler, Wisconsin.
Beauty.
We go to our man who is on the scene, Michael Collins, former PGA Tour caddy. Get a load of this guy. It's usually a tropical shirt. Today he looks like a peach. Collins, how you doing out there? Is it cold?
Yeah, it's cold, man. I got pants on. Are you kidding me? Most of the time, y'all know when we hang out, I'm wearing shorts and a golf shirt. I got long sleeves on. Let me do it this way. They are selling in the merchandise tent a hand warmer, like you see the NFL players use. I got one. It's by G-Tech, and it's like battery operated and stuff. I got a backup battery. It's freaking freezing. Even the cheese curds went home.
All right, so let's get hot with some picks. The Ryder Cup starts tomorrow, but the European team, made headlines on Wednesday. They came out for practice in Green Bay Packers colors. They were wearing cheese heads. Are they trolling the U.S. fans on behalf of Team Europe, or are they trying to win over the fans?
They're trying to win over the fans. And let me tell you something. Padraig Harrington versus Steve Stricker. Harrington just went one up. You know why? The European team got the Packers involved. They busted out Green Bay Packers hats and were dressed like Green Bay Packers with the white and green and yellow stripe on the shirt, and wore Green Bay Packers hats and then put on cheese heads and threw them to the crowd with the Green Bay Packers blessing. Man, that's one up Europeans. They're having a lot of fun out there.
Yeah, that was a wise move by Patty Harrington there. Collins, let's take a look at the morning foursomes just announced this afternoon for Friday, and we have some very good matchups. One in particular stands out to me at the bottom there. Cantley and Schauffele, two solid, sturdy young Americans against McIlroy and Poulter, who is a Ryder Cup god. And it's actually the Euros, though, that are the underdogs in that matchup. So anything stand out in the four matchups we'll see in the morning session to you, Caddy?
I'm going to tell you this right now. That first match out the box is like the third rail of emotions. Jon Rahm and Sergio Garcia, world number one, with the guy for Europe who's won the most Ryder Cup points in the history of the Ryder Cup for the Europe side? What? And then you got Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth, and that pair together is like, that's Clash of the Titans. That's the heartbeat of the American team, going toe-to-toe in match number one. I can't wait for that to get going away. I'm going to tell you this, though. Rory McIlroy and Ian Poulter, I did not see that pairing coming together. Poulter's having more fun than any other European Ryder Cup player, and Rory McIlroy looks the most relaxed I have ever seen him at an event. Those two are going to be a dangerous combination starting on Friday morning.
One of the all-time great Ryder Cup debates is how do you structure your singles lineup on Sunday for the final day? You want the heavy hitters possibly to go later, but at the same time, you don't want them to be too late where they don't matter. See Medina in, I believe, 2012 when Tiger Woods didn't even matter as the Euros came storming back in honor of Seve Ballesteros. So, has Steve Stricker, the captain of the American team, tipped his hand at all as to how he wants to deploy his guys come Sunday?
Nah, I don't think even a little bit right there. Sunday's looking way too far forward. Both Padraig Harrington and Steve Stricker said the same thing. We got our plan in place and it's set. We're not going to change everything. But I'm going to tell you the same thing Mike Tyson said. Everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the face. So depending on what happens, I would say at least on Friday, all those plans and schematics that they have written down, you can throw them out the window if things don't go well for either side.
All right, Caddy, now we need your expertise as far as figuring out what the final outcome is. The Americans are favored pretty heavily, minus 225. Euros, a dog at plus 225, 12-1 for a draw, which, of course, would keep the Ryder Cup across the pond with the Euros. Tell me who wins, and I'll even let you take a stab at guessing the final tally.
I already noticed. Listen, everybody goes heavy on the Americans every single time. You know how many times the Americans have won the Ryder Cup in the last 9 tries? Twice. You know how many times they've run it in the last 12 times? 3 times. So, but you know what? They were always the heavy favorite then, too. I know this isn't going to make a lot of people happy, but it can make you a whole bunch of money. I'm going with the push. The score is going to be 14-14. Europe's going to retain the cup, but You're getting 12-1, so shut up and don't complain and get your money.
Michael Collins, former PGA Tour caddy, on location at Whistling Straits for ESPN. Thank you, caddy. Great stuff as always. Stay warm out there.
I'm going to get in a tub of hot chocolate right now because I'm freezing.
Wise move.
Throw a couple marshmallows in there while you're at it. How would you play this? The money keeps coming in on the American team. The odds keep getting more and more. I was gonna say greater. You can't say more greater. That's just awful grammar. I'm done. I'm just gonna stop. I'm gonna stop
the
talking.
odds keep getting greater and greater
start talking
in favor of the Americans. I understood what you meant there, brother. We're all good here, but I like Caddy's idea. I'd sprinkle a little on the draw, but most of my investment, more of my units, would be on the Euro side. At plus 225, the value is way too good to pass up. I think the Americans do have a better team, more talented team on paper, but we have to talk numbers, price here, and it is not by that big of a margin where the Americans should be favored by, at minus $2.25. So I would bet the Euros. As Caddy pointed out, they've won 9 of 12, 7 of 9. This course is a link-style course, and even though it's been lengthened to accommodate the American Bombers, there's so much experience, so much moxie on that European side. So that's the side I like, no doubt about it, the European side. At that number, I cannot wager on the United States, who have a lot of question marks. Does Brooks care? Is Colin Morikawa healthy? What about all the newbies? Now, newbies have had success at the Ryder Cup, but I think there's 6 guys on this American squad that have never been in this format before. So there's too many question marks on such a prohibitive favorite. There's so many bullet points on such a dog that why not sprinkle most of my action on the Euros at plus 225?
Quickly, normally the crowd plays a huge factor in this event. And normally you would have a lot of European fans coming across the pond, as they say, to participate. But because of the pandemic, none of them can get here. Some of them can get here. Not what we normally see.
Right.
How much does that worry you, knowing you want to back the Euros?
Not much, because I think there'll still be plenty of noise for the Euros and, of course, for the Americans at Whistling Straits. Beautiful place to watch a golf tournament.
Savvy play trying to win over the fans like that. How did the Americans not think of something like that?
It just shows you.
Maybe they're just focused.
Just shows you.
These are like focused on winning this event.
Who cares more? Who's better at this event?
All right, let's go to baseball, where this guy right here has brought some joy to this program. We struggle from time to time when it comes to some of these bits, but this one, not so much. Diamond Dollars, we each start with a $100 bankroll and try to build it up, making baseball bets each and every week. Now, we both got cleaned out, so we're doing double play. This is our second go-round. You have made all those losses back and then some. You are up 54.69 on the season. You are up 154.69 in double play.
Well, the Astros owed me because I went down to 0 the first time by betting the house on the Astros against the Orioles. Thank you for getting me back on track, us back on track against the Rangers.
A wonderful job. Wonderful job. I have the gravy train off that. So, with that being said, what do you have in store for the people tonight/tomorrow?
Yeah, I wanted to go to Game 2 tomorrow between the Cards and Cubs doubleheader, but the board isn't posted yet for Jack Flaherty coming back off the injured list for the Cardinals, their ace, as the Cardinals have now won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games in a row heading into a doubleheader tomorrow against the lowly Chicago Cubs. They might run down the Brewers in the NL Central, forget the second wild card spot, because they just swept or mocked Milwaukee out of Miller Park. So
pronounced Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. Alice Cooper told me that. Game 1 starts at 11:20 a.m. Pacific, so that'd be 2:20 Eastern. Cardinals are minus 157 on the money line. So I'm just going to wager $15.70 to try and win 10 back because Jay happens
to be. Too reasonable. Too reasonable.
I get it, but I wanted the second game, and the second game is not posted. I would have laid a lot more. I would have laid 50 on Flaherty and the Birds in Game 2, but
I love the fact that you fluctuate from all of it to 6% of it. I love it. Great work. All right.
It's called bankroll management, kids.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to do a little bit more conservative play. I should probably go first, save the big hitter for last. I'm going to risk $10.50 to win $10, so I would return $20.50, the original investment plus the winnings, if I could get it done under 9 runs, which is minus 105 in the Red Sox-Yankees game tomorrow. Nathan Eovaldi is going to be pitching for the Red Sox. On August 6th against Toronto, he got shelled for 7 runs. Since then, he has made 8 starts. In those 8 games, Boston is 7-1, and Eovaldi has an ERA of 2.27. He's been fantastic. ERA of sub-3 when pitching at home, north of 4 when pitching on the road. Who's going for the Yanks? Thank you for asking. Garrett Cole, who at one time was the front runner to win the Cy Young. Now it's starting to slip a little bit. Cole's last outing, he gave up 7 runs. He got shelled. So let's go back through his season. There have been a handful of games this year where he's given up 5 or more runs. He hasn't pitched very well. Coming off those games, he's got an ERA of 2.86 the next time out. So he has shown resilience in bouncing back. Garrett Cole, Nathan Eovaldi, Yankees Red Sox, under 9 runs, $10.50.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Just feels, I'm not excited about my own bet. After you double down on all of
I
that.
wanted to bet more, but
Unbelievable. All right, next week. Next week, he's going to bet it all and more. He's
Yes.
going to go in the hawk
Next week,
to complete the wager.
next week we are the last week of the season. I'm going to put it all on the line. Okay, we'll see. We'll see what I have left.
Watch this man on TV. Listen to him on the radio and podcast. Do not invest your money with him. Okay? His approach is not sound. Diversify. Play it reasonable. Let's close it. College football kicks off tonight, but we want to focus on 2 of the marquee matchups on Saturday. As my colleague likes to say here, let's begin Saturday, noon Eastern, Soldier Field in Chicago.
Yep.
As it's going to be Wisconsin and Notre Dame. Wisconsin laying 6.5, total of 45. How do you want to play it?
Yeah, I'll take the 6.5-point head start with Notre Dame. It's going to be a low-scoring game, or it should be, with a total at 45.
Agreed.
That's what we are expecting here. And in low-scoring games, you're getting a dog who is actually the higher-ranked team at almost a touchdown. And it's on a neutral site. They're not going to Camp Randall, okay? It's in Chicago, as you pointed out, at Soldier Field. So trust me, there's as many Notre Dame fans in Chicago as there is Wisconsin fans. As a matter of fact, I think South Bend might be closer than Madison, Wisconsin is to Chicago. So it's going to be a 50-50 split there at Soldier Field. And 6.5 points with Jack Cohn against his former team in a game that's likely going to be low scoring. I like the Irish.
This game is going to be... it's going to be a tough watch. Wisconsin football is always a tough watch, win or to lose. I'm going to play the first half under in this game, which is 23 points. Wisconsin's had 2 weeks to get ready for this matchup. They lost to Penn State in a grind in week 1. They beat Eastern Michigan 34-7 in week 2, and then they've been off. So I think the defense is going to come in with a good plan for Jack Cohn, who's been behind a somewhat suspect offensive line, but has played really well this season. Now, conversely, Notre Dame's defense has struggled, but Wisconsin's offense hasn't done anything. Yes, they've had 2 weeks to get ready, but I don't think they're suddenly going to run an up-tempo spread attack a la Chip Kelly at Oregon. This is a Wisconsin team that wants to run the ball and grind the clock. As we see from time to time in college football, slow starts, big finishes. Penn State, Auburn, more points in the second half. Ohio State, Oregon, more points in the second half. These teams feel each other out a little bit. They make the adjustments at halftime, and then they explode. So we're going to limit this to the first half, under 23 points, Wisconsin and Notre Dame. Last game of the week before we will see you Sunday morning for our NFL Spectacular. 3:30 p.m. Eastern, Kyle Field in College Station, Texas. Texas A&M, the Aggies, laying 4.5 against a very good Arkansas football program. Total is 47. Total has been climbing.
Is that game at Kyle Field or is it in Arkansas? I think it's
I
in
was
Arkansas.
of the belief this game was at Texas A&M.
I think it's in Arkansas.
Arkansas's 3-0 at home this season. This is another home game?
Let me look at the schedule. No, I got Verse A&M at home. I got Verse A&M at home.
Big swing and a miss for me all week.
So that matters because I'm going to go under 47 here. A dangerous in an FCC game to go under, but Sam Pittman has been an under god at Arkansas, especially at home. They were undefeated. They went 5-0 to the under at home in Fayetteville in 2020. Now, all 3 Arkansas games have gone over this season. Or that's not a trend I love. But I do think it's going to be a tight, low-scoring game because that's the best way for Arkansas to try and win in front of their home fans now that we got that cleared up.
I am going to be completely honest. I am no longer making a play on this game. I liked Texas A&M. I was under the impression all week that this game was at Kyle Field. It was going to be Arkansas, its first road game of the season, 3-0 start. Couple offensive linemen, Dalton Wagner and Ricky Stromberg got hurt in the last game last week. We don't know if they're going to play. They got injuries at running back as well. It's a big problem. So Tyler's going to play under. I was going to play A&M. Do not put the graphic up there. I am not making a bet in this game. Do not listen to anything I have to say. How could that happen? I'm normally so diligent.
I get it. You know, they have played nothing but home games, and all 3 have gone over after all 5 last year went under. But I think in a game that matters now the most for Sam Pittman and this Arkansas squad, it's going to be low scoring as they try and control the ball with their run game. And A&M's offense isn't what it once was, I guess, under Jim Bowie.
You know the scene in Wedding Crashers? What an idiot. Loser. That's exactly what's happening right here. That's it.
Hey, you know, baby. That's what friends are for.
All
That's what friends are for.
That's enough of the booing. All right, whoever's hitting that boo soundtrack, I want to hear a cheering soundtrack the next time this guy hits for all his money on baseball. We'll see you Sunday morning. That's Tyler Fulghum. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. Thank you for watching.